morning. Yeah. Believe it or not, I did actually play Gen 2. In fact, I think I played Gen 2 more than I played Gen 1. That shouldn't be all that you know. This is actually I don't know how popular this song is. But I would imagine a good chunk of people actually know what game this is from. Yes. I think it's Azalea. The Bug Town. Good morning, Falco. I used to be on the TV in my living room as well, until my kid got tired of seeing my face, and now I've been replaced by Miss Rachel. That's alright. It's alright. Pepe. Oh, look at that. A lot of third placers in chat. Bronze medal is not a medal. Nobody cares who makes bronze medal in any tournament. Nobody. except for the United States when we want to use it as a reason to flex that we got more medals than anybody in the Olympics. Third place is nothing. If I were you, Pepe, I would take that third place medal and I'd leave it in the subway on the way back to the airport. I'd say, this is not what I came here for, and I'd chuck it straight in the trash can. That was the Discord message. No, nobody's DMing you guys. That's my Discord. Telling me that I am now live. 13 minutes after I went live. Why does it do that? Why does it take so long to... Sometimes it's like instantaneous. Last week it took a long time for that to happen as well. If you DM'd me, I will mute you. And then I'll never see your DMs again. Such is life. That wasn't right. Oh, actually, no, that's right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you are making jokes about shooters having bad aim, scolding others for making jokes about shooters having bad aim, falling to your death in a grocery store with 150 live viewers watching your tournament set, whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. A bit of breaking news not as we go live here on the podcast, but about 3 hours or so, and I do want to at least comment on it. Splat Safety has announced their bans for Jackpot in Zero, from basically some of the stuff that happened or that came to light last month. Q got 2 months. Jared 3 months. Madness, Leafy both got 6, and Zero got a full year. They also released a follow-up statement that basically went in slightly more detail into how they came to this conclusion. Basically, talking about factors they included: how old was the offender at the time, how involved was each individual, how recent was their latest offense, how much influence did they have over the community at the time of the infraction. I don't know about that, but there you go. There's a ban of some sort for the for Zero and the players of Jackpot. You know, the players of Jackpot, they're going to be fine. Like for the rest of their life, they're going to be fine. I mean, like this, the things they've done are not going to define them in the world outside of Splatoon. It's not like 80 years from now, this is something that's going to continue to haunt them. And most of them have already said that before these bans came out. Most of them have already said we're not coming back to the scene. You know, we're stepping away. We're done with competitive. We're done with Splatoon. It's just time to step away, obviously. And I said on this show that that is the right move, and we as the community need to make sure there is not a way for them to come back. And it's not about, oh, you're never going to change, you're never going to be you're never going to overcome this. No, they are. They're young and they got their whole lives ahead of them. That doesn't mean the rest of the community has to accept change or put a time limit on it. And I said on this show, and I stand by it, it should be an indefinite ban. It shouldn't be 6 months or a year or 2 or 3 or whatever. Like it's that you can't put a limit on what's gonna happen in 6 months. Like are they going to be different people? Are they going to be changed individuals? Sure, probably. But what I don't understand is, how do you go to the people that were affected, the victims? How do you go to people of color and say, hey, it's been 6 months? Like, are you guys cool with them coming back now? Because like the code of conduct said it was 6 months and it's been 6 months. So like they should be allowed back in, right? Like that's not fair to anybody. And that's why I said it should be indefinite. It should be. And again, I don't think they're going to come back after. I don't think 6 months you're going to see any of these players try to come back. But it's disappointing that there is some sort of community stance here that says in 6 months, all good, when that's not going to be the case at all. Again, this isn't going to define these players for the rest of their lives. They got a whole planet of hobbies and other things they can do for the rest of their lives. How we as a community respond to this, though, can define our community. So I'm a little disappointed in the ruling here. I mean, they obviously they had to do banning, but I feel like 6 months, even with the explanation they have, I just don't agree with it. But so be it. And there you go. You know, I didn't think I'd be talking about splat safety yet again, but they just made that ruling 3 hours ago, and I wanted to at least comment on it in some way. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. Believe it or not, it is Super Jump week. Super Jump is taking place this weekend, the biggest online major Splatoon has. Grassroots major, I guess I should say. It is taking place this weekend. Make sure you register for that. It closes on Friday. There's going to be a lot of questions that are going to be answered from this Super Jump. What does the top level scene even look like? Who are the next rising stars? Like, who's going to fill the void that has obviously been left here? Those are some questions that are going to be answered this upcoming weekend. And who's going to take home 500 smackaroonies? Possibly more. Who knows? So sign up for that. I'll probably do a preview on Friday for Super Jump. At what time, I'm not sure. Fridays is that weird part where I get off of work early, but I also want to be able to pick up PJ from daycare, and I want to do it before we pick up PJ. So, like, my wife isn't stuck with him right now, watching Miss Rachel on repeat and all those annoying songs over and over and over again. Oh boy. Sign up for Super Jump. Today we got a fun show lined up. We've had some heavy topics that we had to talk about, but now we can get back to talking about this stupid video game that we all know and love. So we got a fun segment lined up here, and no, my arrow on the topics is not out of order. We were going to start off with talking about Gridlock and talking to Brush, who was there at Gridlock, getting his perspective on things, how it went. However, Brush is DM'd me, and the current status for Brush is that the power at his apartment just went out, and he's working to he's working on right now trying to unscuff it. I don't know if that means he's trying to turn on his power right now, or somebody who probably knows what they're doing is working on that. So we're going to switch things around. We are going to start off talking about the LUTI segment that I was going to talk about, and then we'll get to Brush hopefully in about 30 minutes or so to talk about Gridlock then. It's not a Brush theme thing until something crazy happens. Yeah. There you go. So we're going to go in reverse order. But first, flip my notes and we'll start on the back. We are now officially in LUTI Makeup Week, which for some teams is just your bye week. It's the week where you get to relax and watch how things unfold, maybe scout out who you think your first round opponent in the playoffs is going to be. Maybe you've already disbanded and you're starting to make a new team and you're coming up with some sort of stupid name for your new team. For some of you, you have 3 matches you gotta play this week. I don't think I saw anybody with 4. I think the most I saw, one team had 3 matches they had to get in, and they were against teams that weren't dropped or anything like that. So, yeah, some of you, it's going to be a busy week. For others, not so much. But so far, this has been a fantastic season. Been a fun season, and what I want to do is go through each div, starting with 10 up to X, and talk about the interesting storyline going on with every single div that is a div this season. Before we get into that, keep in mind, it has been a month and a half since LUTI divs came out. Obviously, those things are no longer valid anymore. Yes, I was on the seating council, and yes, I completely forgot every single reason why I personally put a team into my certain div. I forgot all of this stuff. In fact, I looked back through some of the teams listed out, and I don't even remember any of those teams at all. Like, I don't remember seeding half of these teams. So it's like, who even are these guys? Like, I have absolutely no recollection of any of that stuff. And by the way, just throwing that out there, the narrative of winning your div proves the seating council wrong makes no sense the longer you think about it. We don't put a team into a div and think, well, every single team in this div is going to lose. No, somebody has to win your div. And we're not saying by putting you in div 4 that we think you can't compete in div 3. What we're saying is there's just no room for you. And that doesn't mean, we're putting you in div 4 because we think you're going to lose. No, like, most of the time, if you win a div, you're proving the council right. We thought highly of you. We just didn't think there was room for you in the other div. Also, you win your div 2 months after you got the div that you got. All of you are going to be completely different teams in 2 months span. Some better, some of you worse and disband. Like, a lot changes then. And the seating council did not have information about you 2 months into the future when we were seeding you. Just am I protecting myself from backlash? I don't know. I'm just saying that the proof the seating count's wrong by winning narrative just never made any logical sense to me. Because you can't prove me wrong. I'm always right. Speaking of which, let's take a look starting at Div 10 and slowly work our way up. and hopefully Brush's power is online by the time we get up to Div X. Division 10. There is not much to say about this division, as there's going to be for the first couple of divisions. However, Division 10 being the lowest div, as we typically see, is the unfortunate div to where you have half the teams that are actually, just based off the information they gave us, should be placed somewhere near the bottom of divs. And the other half of the teams, they were just like, we don't know anything about these guys. And they put no information. And they basically just put lol on their like results. So like, we don't know half the teams in Div 10. We just had to throw them in there somewhere. So here's the interesting stat for Division 10, which might make Division 10 extremely unfun for the vast majority of teams that are in it. I counted by hand across the Div 10 Americas and Div 10 World. There's two different Div 10s. The amount of matches that actually played so far, with some more matches yet to be played. I didn't include matches that are 0-5 because of drops or stuff like that. I counted by hand the actual matches that were played. I counted 165 matches that have been played so far. Of those 165 matches, 93 of them are 5-0 sweeps. 93 of 165 matches are 5-0 butt whoopings. That is 56.4% of the matches that are played were 5-0 sweeps in Division 10. So more likely than not, a match in Division 10 was not even close. Them's the breaks. Well, they should do something about that. What do you want us to do? Well, not us. I'm not the one building this I'm not the one actually like building the groups and stuff like that. But I mean, there's no way to really fix that. That's just a symptom of being in the bottom div, whether it's Div 10 this season or Div 11 the past season. There's going to be some unfortunate butt whoopings that take place, and that's the case right there. By the way, I got to give a shout out to Div 10 America Group F, is it? No, it's it's Group F of Div 10. I guess I should share some screen here. Is this correct? Yes. This div, or this group right here, is the only group in all of Division 10 to have all of their matches done. They have nothing nobody dropped, first off, and second off, everybody played all of their matches. They're done. Congratulations. This is insane because there's like what? How many letters? Oh gosh, I'm not going to do math on the top of my head. There's like 12 different groups across here or something like that. Only one is completely done at this time without any drops. Shout out to these teams. Now, as I show you this, you see like nothing but 5-0, 5-0, 5-0. Oh, here's one that went to Game 9. That's awesome. But don't look at that. It's still a fun time across the board. That's Division 10. Division 9 is going to be a little bit hard to find something interesting to talk about. Playoffs is hard to tell when you have this massive group. So keep in mind, Division 9 is one of those 96 divisions. You got the Division 9 America, Division 9 World. And it's I mean, look, if you were to win your group, it's kind of impressive, but at the same time it's like, well, you haven't really done a whole heck of a lot just yet. So there's still to work out with Division 9, and a lot of these teams are just mostly unknown. I did find one interesting group to kind of keep an eye on for this final makeup week, and that is Group H, where so here we go. So here's Group H of this one, and as you can see, pretty much a good chunk of these teams are still in it. And by a good chunk, I mean half that I look back at it here. Why do I even want to talk about this group? What's so interesting about it? Maybe it has to do with In the Trenches and Abungus still having to play each other, or just like the amount of diversity that's going on here. Pretty much everybody got a win. There's still okay. So yeah, I completely forgot why I point this down. This is still the most interesting thing I could find in Division 9. Is Group H of this one here. Um, in the trenches, an enemy of my anemone. That's a great team name. I think the winner of that one does move on to make playoffs, but regardless, we're moving on from Div 9. Sorry, not sorry. Division 8 is another one of those 96 team groups. And this is why I say it's like hard to tell anything out of groups when you get this many teams. So in a 96 team division, in the group stage, you play 5 teams, not including yourself because you can't play yourself. There's 95 other teams in your division, and you've only played 5 of them. So even if you go like 25-0 per games and you 5-0 your group, you still have only played 5% of every team that's in your division. Is it fair to say that you're that good or that much better than everybody else? Like, I don't know. Like, you could have just lucked out and got the same 5. Like, the groups aren't really seeded that well in these bigger divs just because there's just so many teams. It's like you're not going to sit down and individually seed all 96 as 1 through 96. I will say, though, there is actually something legit interesting in one of these groups here. I think we're looking at Group A of World A and B. Yeah, this is something I don't think I've ever seen in any group stage tournament ever. So look at the standings of this one. Last Squid standing is 4-1, but everybody else is 3-2, 2-3, 2-3, 2-3, and 2-3. This is, if correct me if I'm, well, they're already done, so they all played all 5 of their games. But like, I've never seen the number 6 team in a group with 2 wins. This seems like as competitive as you could possibly get. Now, Last Squid standing, who actually beat them? It looks like they lost in week 5 to Driving with Influence, who ended up near the bottom at 2-3. Now, Last Squid standing at 4-0 had already guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, so like, them losing that match obviously didn't affect anything. I just can't believe I've never seen like this kind of a standing in any group thing in any kind of format at all. So I found that interesting and wanted to point that out. Is Last Squid standing going to be the last team standing? I have no idea. Shout out to Kiwi Ice Cream. I believe they were the team I gave some credit to earlier. Every other team I think I said was going to win their division is well, we're not going to talk about that because that's the past. We're Hakuna Matata or something like that, you know. Division 7. Now we're talking. Now we're talking in Division 7. 48 teams in this division, and things are cookies and juice because we can actually get some stuff to talk about right here. Now, remember I kind of talked about how you can't really make a determination off of group stage, off of who got underseeded or who's in the wrong div or who did the seeding council not believe in or anything like that. And it, you know, you obviously got some land crabs looking good here. Traffic Cones 5-0. But the one team that seems to be, oh my goodness, is Prime. Prime is not just 5-0. I believe they are. Did they drop one game? Yes. Rewind, the team that finished in second place, took one game off of them. Otherwise, they are 25-1. And this isn't like some cupcake group that they're in. Like, these are all name brand teams we know. Pearl Essence has played in many low inks. Rewind is an up-and-coming team. Inked Under has been playing in many low inks as well. Like, these aren't just the random pickups that Prime is going up against. They're playing some solid teams and demolishing them. So Prime might be a little bit better than Division 7. Who knows? Now, I went back and looked over the registration or like the notes that teams submitted for themselves. Prime said that their captain was new to competitive and their friends told them to give it a shot. So they signed up and said they would see what would happen, but they've been too nervous to try out competitive. Well, they're doing pretty good. I think you made the right call. Keep an eye on Prime. They might be the team that wins this entire division. Div 6 has turned into the Squidest, not Squid EST, question mark, Squidest, Invitational. because these fellers have just been whooping. They've been whooping. 5-2, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0 over Biscuit Factory, but it looks like that was a drop. That one didn't actually play. But Squid Est is looking really strong in this division. I don't think I said they were the team that was going to win this one. But you also got a couple of things here where, some groups are more fun than others because teams actually play and they don't drop. And then you got groups like this in Division 6 where Chroma Chaos is just like, did we even play? Did LUTI even happen? Because half of the teams that played right here dropped, including Big Tommy and the Splats. No, give us our name back. Squid Est is looking really good, though. And Division 6 is shaping up to be, it's either going to be them, and, well, there's still a bunch of, undefeated teams that have matches to play this week, so it's too early to tell. Teletubby Doritos also looking pretty solid in the matches they actually played, although the Ocean Harmony did push them into a Game 9. Squid Est, keep an eye on them. Division number 6. Division 5. Yes, I'm still eligible for low ink. I get to play in low ink in this division. Yeah, well, we'll see, because there are some low ink monsters that are flexing all over Division 5. You got your Division 5 teams, and then you got your, they put us in Division 5 because there was no room in Division 4. In the wheat is being separated from the whatever, I don't know, the shaft. At first glance, you look at Ultra Krill, you see the group that they're in, the teams they've been playing against, and you see the fact that they have lost a grand total of 0 games. They are 25-0, or technically 20-0, because Pink Zinc was like, yeah, we're not even going to try. We're out. We're done here. So Ultra Krill has yet to drop a single game. They were the second place team in low ink last month. But there's still a lot of other monsters roaming around. Big Fat Sea Cows, 5-0. A Little Fresh Meat, not sure who that is low ink is wise, 5-0. Exotic Butters, 4-0. And, of course, Insomniac Central, who I believe they finished third place, right? They got a bronze medal in low ink. They're 4-0, and they're curb stomping the competition as well. 5-0 the Jelly Squids, the Wobie Gong, 5-0 Blood Moon. That's a harsh name. They 5-0 them, Crabbergoons. Now, I'm not too familiar with the teams they're playing. Bagel Time should be a decent match for them, but it's not just guaranteed that Ultra Krill is going to dominate this, but the playoffs for this is going to be like alpha brackets, the alpha bracket you wish you were playing in. So Div 5 is going to be fun playoffs. I don't think Ultra Krill is just going to curb stomp it. The way they've been running through all of these teams on their way there. Yeesh. But they've been looking pretty good. You can't look better than being undefeated in the group stage. There's nothing more you can do to impress. See if they take care of business in the playoffs. Division 4, and this is where things get really fun, because there's always somebody who is, maybe even me, who has a history of writing checks that other people need to cash. And there's been a very vocal person who has been saying, well, congratulations for Viscous for winning Division 4 pretty much every single week when they got a win. And it was like, are they really going to win Division 4? Yeah, they're winning some of these matches, but they're not blowing anybody out. And you look at the roster that they have. Yes, of course, Vicious should be a team that is like threatening to win the division because they're all really strong players. They're just a weird pickup for not really taking it seriously, I think. I don't know. I haven't seen any of their matches. But still, Vicious can't even play anymore. They're eliminated. They didn't even make playoffs. Why? Because Secret Elixir and Resonance both finished 4-1. So you got a 3-way tie here. So when you have a 3-way tie, head-to-head goes out the window because you can't do it when there's a triangle like that. So it comes down to how many games did you win in the matches that you lost? Well, Vicious only has 21 total wins, where Resonance has 22 and Secret Elixir has 24. Oh no, Vicious, the team that has been someone pounding their chest about them every single week, and they're not even going to make playoffs. Unfortunate. Now that doesn't mean like these players are bad or anything. Like obviously they like it is what it is, but still. That's the interesting storyline in Division 4, and unfortunately, it's one of the more interesting storylines involved. LUTI is the team lost one match, and, well, congratulations on Vicious for making third place in your own group, I guess. Not too shabby. Division 3. The interesting storyline that we're going to be looking at here in Division 3. Well, there's two things. First off, Triggerfish Zone Supremacy has the award for the like, are you serious? We're not in like Division 2 after we made the playoffs in Division 2. What's up with that? They've been taking care of business. Like they've been stomping on teams in their group. They actually played Strawberry Soda before they dropped 5-1. Loxier was this is a strong Loxier team, by the way. They beat them 5-3. Took care of business against Free Flow. I know Free Flow's up. Free Throw is upset because I didn't mention them at all in my predictions for Division 3. It looks like they're going to make playoffs out of this too. But Triggerfish losing to Impulse 5-3. If you're looking at the teams that are here, I still think Triggerfish is the favorite to win Division 3. They lost to Impulse, and there's a former Destiny Trip member on Impulse, so I got the lowdown on what happened here. I heard a rumor that there is a swim speed Ninja Squid ink brush that was used for the vast majority of this one. So, like, when Triggerfish has to like crack down and actually win games, I feel like they're gonna need to. But even though they're 3-1 here, I guess there's still technically a way they could fail to make playoffs. I still think Triggerfish is the favorite to win this one. Maybe Ford F-150. Crossfire has been doing well. We'll get to Crossfire in a second, but yeah, there's maybe Ford F-150 would be my other one. But I'll go with Triggerfish as the favorite. But there's something really fun about this division. Could you imagine? It's makeup week, and you really haven't played any matches at all, and you are just one win away from making playoffs. That's right. Group D has 3 teams that have dropped, and you got 3 teams that have wins from those drops. Crossfire, the Grillers, and Dreamy Wave have yet to play each other. They have to play each other in this group in this week for the makeup, and that's essentially their LUTI season that they are starting right now. Now, they did actually play, like the Grillers did play against Jack Squat. Crossfire played against Hot and Cold. Those matches actually took place before they dropped. In fact, all these teams did get legit wins. And then after that, it's just they all dropped. So like they just did a fake warm-up against each other for the real match. Like they're going to start playing LUTI with everything on the line this week. So that's a fun time in in Division 3. Man, I love LUTI. I don't miss playing in it. There's just so much silliness. Div 2 Easy Clap. Do you guys even remember when Div 2 Easy Clap became a meme? Some of you like, I remember that. Some of you don't actually do that. Some of you old heads have no excuse to do so. The last time my team played in LUTI, we were Division 2. It was Season 12. There still has yet to be a champion crowned in Division 2 of Season 12. They never played that final match. They never the grand finals of Division 2 never played. I think one team actually forfeited after like 2 months of them not playing. And it was just like ever since then I've just had a negative thought about Division 2. But this one is pretty fun. There's only 2 unbeaten teams left in this one. Conflict, who barely escaped the Bad Piggies. They still could lose one more match. They're not done with their set just yet. And Pinpoint, who is 4-0. Stargaze gave them a run for their money, but they still have to win one more. So there's a possibility that we might not have any 5-0 teams in Division 2 heading into the playoffs. And these 4-1 teams, Stargaze, Blank Z, Frostburn, or Frostburn's not 4-2, but the Bad Piggies, like all of these teams are still in it. This is going to be the best playoffs to keep an eye on, because this seems like the most consistent div as far as like top to bottom kind of teams. There's no clear-cut favorite. Conflict, yes, they're undefeated, but the Bad Piggies took 3 games away from them. Last Supper took 1. Ice Shard took 1 off of them, so they might be like the favorite. Pinpoint as well. Stargaze gave them a run. Tylenol Takers took 2 games before they could drop, so it's still up in the air. Exciting times. Division 2 might be the most exciting playoffs to keep a look at, other than Division 5 as well. That leaves us 2 more divisions, because we've got 1, not 10. No, we're not going back to Division 10. I'm done looking at Division 10. Thank you. Division 1. You got the teams that are like, oh, we should have been in Division X. And then you got the teams that are like, oh, we probably should not have even been in Division 1. We probably should have been in Division 2. Catnip's looking really good, to no surprise. I think I've said this on the record before. I'll continue to say it. Catnip was like the first team left out of Division X, and there was a lot of debate about them being moved up in there. So far, they've been taking care of business. They still haven't played Hades yet. They're going to play Hades in their makeup week. It's not really going to change much. It's just like for seeding. Like both these teams should make the playoffs. Dwayne, however, has 3 matches to play, and Dwayne could leapfrog all of them. Is Hades one of the teams? Yeah, so Dwayne has to play Hades still. So if Dwayne actually ends up playing all 3 of their matches and winning them all, they'll make the playoffs over Hades, but Catnip is guaranteed it at this point. No, they're not technically guaranteed it. Like Hades still has 2 to play as well. So there's a lot to play in Division 1 of things to go through here. Slate King's looking good at 5-4 or 5-0. You know, Super Velocity's looking pretty good. Maybe we should have debated another team besides Catnip though for Division X. Facade, they're 5-0 in their group. Not bad. You know, how are they actually doing those games? Oh, they haven't dropped a single game. Narwhal, Corrupted Light, Liar. I think this is before they dropped. And R1904. Oh my goodness. I don't think I didn't go back and check through every single season. I would be willing to bet this is the first time any team has ran through Division 1 without dropping a single game. Oh my goodness. Now, it's not just can we fast forward to them versus Catnip in the finals, because I do think Super Velocity still has some stuff left to go. Slate Kings hasn't dropped a set either, although it hasn't been easy for them to get to the 5-0 in their group. But man, Facade, they're looking pretty good. They're looking good, as we try to say. Now, all that fails in comparison to what has been a historic season in Division X, and you're looking at the entirety of Division X as it's just these 12 teams. When you take out the teams that are the god tiers, that like to do pickups or just play, like last season Jackpot played in Division X and they curb stomped it. And then the season before that, there was some sort of, you know, like FT Win, Starburst pickup that curb stomped that. When you take out the really high top level teams and you just leave the what's left, you get the best Division X we've ever had, ever. Last season, there was a grand total of 1 set that went to a Game 9. There are still more sets to be played, but so far this season, there has been 8 sets that have gone to a Game 9. 4 in the American group and 4 in the Europe group. This has been as competitive as you could possibly be, including the undefeated Osmosis and the team that is yet to win a single match, Healthy Diet Food Groups. They played last week, and that one went to a Game 9. So literally anybody can beat anybody at any point. And do I dare try to guess who's actually going to win from this one? I think Europe is still, I think we're going to get like an all EU finals here. Golden Hour and Black Lotus have looked really good. In fact, this match between these two teams went to a game 9 as well. Black Lotus was the number 1 overall seed of every single team that signed up in LUTI this season. Golden Hour beat them. I would assume, I guess I would have to pick Golden Hour to win this division at this point, just based off of that. But I mean, I think it comes down between these two teams, and just how does Osmosis feel that day. Choo Choo got crushed to start the season. They went 0-5 or 5-0 to Osmosis, but they've really bounced back since then, winning a game 5 this week against Monsoon as well. So this has been a fantastic Division X. Either have a bunch of really strong teams, like name brand strong top level teams, or just take all of them out. When you just have one in there, it ruins the whole experience for everybody. This has been great, and this is the best Division X ever. Too bad we never really see any matches from it. But hopefully the playoffs will be streamed on either like LUTI Tonight or... No, put it on LUTI Tonight. Let's put it on there. So that's our little glance here for Makeup Week. Let's run through these. There's a lot of highlighted stuff. Shoutouts to the TOs. I think that decided to put Rainfall and Rainfall in the same division and the same group. I saw that match. I didn't watch that match, but I saw it was yesterday. Yeah, that's a good one to put on stream. Goleb. I'm going to send a message from one of my friends real quick about Ultra Krill. Div 5 is so funny to me because I have zero clue how to compare Ultra Krill to the other teams right now. Sweeping is impressive, but their group is so weak in comparison to the other groups. They have the most difficult path through the playoffs of any team of any div, so we'll see, LOL. No. Don't try to pass off that statement of, oh, this is just something my friend sent me. No, that's something you think, Goldeb, and you're trying to pass it off on a fictional person that doesn't exist. Don't you play that card. It's not going to slip past me. Ancient Wings. Insomniac Central finally beat Ultra Krill this past weekend in All for 1-2. So it's definitely going to be competitive in the playoffs. Now, that was Splat Zones only, but so be it. Finally get the... Oh, that's right, because Ultra Krill beat them 3 times in low ink. I forgot about that. And wasn't Insomniac Central like beating them in Splat Zone specifically in low ink too? That's a good... I love rivalries like that. Goldeb, again, the best story of Division 1 is Liar. Yeah, the team that drunk DQ'd. Yeah, that's pretty good. Triton, so fun fact about Division X. There are more Game 9s this season. Okay, you made that point. I made that point. But something else that you said is also double the previous highest amount of Game 9s in Division X of season, which was 4 in season 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so yeah, this is mathematically the best one. Keon says 2 of the Division 8 Game 9 games were on LUTI Tonight. Well, I watched the Healthy Diet and Osmosis one. I tweeted about how I watched both teams' perspective at the same time. With their VCs on, and that was kind of that was kind of overwhelming at times, but I enjoyed watching that. Okay. Oh, Brush. If you can hear me out there, I saw you in chat. I don't know if that means your power's back on. Let's recap the week while we figure that out. Paddling pool number 275 took place last Wednesday. It was won by Howdy. Tartus finished in second place, and McDonald's Mafia rounds out your top 3. No, that is not the Howdy Hat Pirates when I first saw it. And I was like, what's going on with that? But no, it was just a team called Howdy. 24 teams played in paddling pool number 275. I don't know if that's a golden one or not. SOS number 154 took place later that Wednesday night for America. Duck Mafia finished in first place. Finished in second, and Fraud F150 rounds out your top 3. 78 teams played in SOS. every single tournament is losing teams this past week. We had a significant dip in every single tournament last week, except for SOS, which is breaking new records every single week that they're running their tournament. It's reached such a new height that it crashed the website, which caused the delay and caused what I consider to be hilarity that took place after that. I don't think it doesn't need to be that serious of takes of anything that happened the last SOS. I think it was pretty funny. And hey, it's a sign that we're growing so much. We broke the Sindao website. Hammerhead was won by OMG a hit tweet. Mako bracket was won by Gatto. And Lantern bracket was won by Brigada Woomy. Triton Cup number 82 was won by Seb Fan Club. Please Forfeit finished in second place in One Last Time. Finished in third. One Last Time. The same team, the Howdy team that won Paddling Pool is pretty much the same team that won Seb Fan Club. Pretty much the same because the Seb Fan Club had 8 players on their roster, which I don't know if that's the legal limit. Why stop it there? You could have one more, you get a whole baseball team going on there. Splat Zones only bi-weekly Double M tournament ran by Dapple Productions. Now, let's hit pause on the music. That's not pause. That's pause. Let's talk about Saturday. I'm not going to talk about any of the tournaments that took place on Saturday. Aside from Gridlock, which was going on, there were 8 freaking tournaments that took place on Saturday, including Proving Grounds, one of our the tournament I ran. And none of them were successful. Not a single one was noteworthy as far as registration is concerned. 2 tournaments were played at the same exact time with roughly the same format. Black Lotus Cup had 15 teams. They had a prize pool. Proving Grounds had 8 after registration. Later that night, Squid Junction had a whopping 11 teams play in their tournament. There was some other tournament that was like a qualifier for something else that was the same time as Proving Grounds and Black Lotus Cup. That had 4 teams in it. And then we had 2 tournaments that are skill capped, that are single mode only, one being Splat Zone, one being Tower Control. Both of them the Tower Control had 24, the Splat Zone had 19. So we just had a whole heck of a lot of tournaments that nobody played in. Now, I've always said, when there's like competing things going on, the players decide what tournaments stay and which ones don't by their participation. Well, the players decided that none of these tournaments should still exist is what I'm getting at here, because we hardly had. Now, you can't even use like the old combined, like all, like, no, these are. What a crazy Saturday. I think the reason why Proving Grounds took place this week is because we wanted to get ahead of Super Jump. So I'm assuming that's why a lot of these tournaments tried the dog pile on that Saturday. It was just, let's not run at the same time as Super Jump. But still, I'm not recapping any of the Saturday tournaments because I don't think any of them are noteworthy, in my opinion. Let's get back to the music. LUTI recap. Division X. Choo Choo got a 5-4 win over Monsoon. Division 9, Ink Strikers got a 5-4 win over Marina Trenchmen. In Division 5, Chaos Inc. got a 5-4 win over Eternal Oblivion. Division 10, Splat Diamond Sigma got a 5-4 win over the Crimson Tide. Alabama! In Division 2, Stargaze with a 5-3 win over Love featuring Zachary. And Division X, the match of the week in my opinion, Osmosis getting a 5-4 win over Healthy Diet Food Groups. Best matches from the LUTI week. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by Spain. Winning the Euros and breaking all the hearts of all the English fans in chat who will be watching this tomorrow on YouTube. England, I want you guys to remember something. You tied with us in the World Cup. You're just as good as we are. So America could very well be the second place team in Euros. And if you guys played in Copa America, the much more difficult tournament, you probably wouldn't even make it out of the group stage. Don't at me, you're just as good as we are. and none of us are as good as Spain, who gets to be the official sponsor of today's segment of the weekly recap. For more Euro Cup coverage, let's hit up Brush. See how that's going on. Whose power appears to be. Now, let me hit up the studio mode before we get any further here to make sure I get this all. Yep, that's good. That's good. Yep. This works.
Why are you laughing there, bud? What's going on?
You look like reporting live from the kitchen.
Here's a couple things you should know about me, Popgun. I slept 3 hours last night. The power's been out for 40 minutes. And I really just want to talk about Brooklands, Gridlock at Brookland and Brooklyn.
So, well, with that being said, welcome into the Popcast. Head TO for Low Ink, Low Tide City. One of the premier commentators we have in the entire scene. And this is a true statement. Former Red Sun player. Brushstrokes. How's morale today?
I'd rather talk about Bad Luck Trout or Wiggly Phantoms on this one.
Nobody remembers
we have to
any
talk
of those.
about. Oh, that's really sad to say. Don't say that to me, Popgun.
It's times have changed. You're getting old, man. You're getting old.
Don't say that.
It's
Also,
true.
don't say that. You're like 0 for 2 so far in this interview with things I like to hear.
This isn't an interview. This is a guest spot. You are an official Popcast correspondent.
I'm a correspondent, and that's why I've got the microphone. I need to get like the little block with the logo on it.
Yes.
For the mic.
Exactly.
Should I turn this logo around? We're not sponsored.
What logo? Let's see.
Can you not see it? Okay. Well, hey, Florida's Natural Premium Lemonade.
Fair enough. Okay, we're just plugging lemonade here to on the podcast. Okay, so obviously we got you on to talk about Gridlock that you were at. I want to pick your brain about some other land stuff too, because you're part of Low Tide City. I do want to start off with this though. What because you were out the past couple of lowings because you've been doing some really cool stuff, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to share that with the world. What have you been doing these past couple lowings?
Yeah, so we talked about it last time I was on the show, sort of what was going on with school. I'm a student at Emerson College in Boston studying theater design technology and audio. So been working on some really cool stuff. Worked on a show in New York with a bunch of Broadway actors and technicians. That was a charity event for Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS. Was a super fun, 72 hours, but it happened to be during Low Ink. And a bunch of other stuff in that world, working full time, doing audio stuff for Broadway. So some cool stuff.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I think I want to do something with noise in theater or live music. I want to keep doing Low Ink as long as I can, though.
Well, you're not going to make a living continuing to do Low Ink, at least not the way we're running it right now.
Not the way we're running it, no.
Fair enough. Okay, but you're enjoying it. You're applying what you're doing with your major, and you found a way to kind of make it work. Right. Now, like the field that you're in, is it like everybody's reaching this kind of success that you are, or is it kind of like a difficult field to navigate through?
I think between different concentrations, like I think people in lighting struggle a lot more. Up until like 15 years ago, there were 5 lighting designers on Broadway. Like there was just a set number that you had to be one of the 5, or otherwise you weren't allowed to design or some crazy stuff. Audio is a little bit higher demand. I take some gigs up in Boston where like we're there for 4 hours and they pay us for 10 because that's how desperate they are for us to be there. So like, I'm doing all right now. I think audio is in a little bit of a low spot. And I hope it stays that way until I graduate,
How did you? Okay, so you're one of the head TOs for Low Tide City. How did that happen?
I hope you didn't hear that car.
I heard a fart.
It's a motorcycle. Yeah. So obviously I run Low Ink. I think the biggest thing I can say about like getting to be involved with these events is going to them and starting to have those conversations and make yourself known as someone who wants to help. My first time ever working or doing like TO adjacent or production stuff was on Tassel season 2, the one that never happened. And so I met K-Bot that way, and so my name had sort of always been known in like those LAN settings. And it was at Genesis this past year. I was working with Level 1 doing audio stuff and production, and I had a really good conversation with Magic 8 Ball and Siren, who are the head TOs of LTC. Magic obviously now has stepped back. And I was like, hey guys, like I'd love to get involved. And they said, do you want to help on LTC? We have like 300 people and we're not ready. And I said, of course. So right place, right time, and make yourself known.
So in New Ink Land, how involved are you with that?
It's my baby, my Avril and Mai's baby. Hapless Hero, who was one of the founding members of Shine in Worcester, helped us get off the ground, helped us get some money going, helped us buy the routers and network switches we needed for that first event, and then had a kid. So diaper duty for him. And Avril and I have sort of taken the reins. We've been thankful. We've poached Fuchsia, who was one of the founding members of Squid West.
Yes.
She just moved back to Massachusetts, so we have her now helping out. And we've got one member from Massachusetts as well, from Boston, who's been a great help. But yeah, that is in a lot of ways Avril and Mai's project.
Well, that's good. A lot of time, and it's easier in the city that you're in because it's more populous. But a lot of times, especially in my chat, whenever we talk about lands and locals popping up, there's somebody that's like, well, when are we going to get a land in South Dakota? And it's like, well, when are you going to get off your ass and make it yourself? Like, that's the only way these things are going to happen.
Right.
So, yeah, credit to you for at least for getting something there. And obviously that's kind of steamrolled into some good success about that. How did Low Tide City go from your perspective? Did you have fun?
Well, the amount of sleep I'm on now, I got this much every night. So I was on like 8 hours of sleep over 3 days, which was less fun. I went down my first water park slide in my life, so that was actually fun. Yeah, it was a great event. Like we did a lot of things really efficiently. We did a lot of things really, really well. I like to say this to my Boston crew when we go into events, but it's this idea of like we shoot for 100% perfection 80% of the time. And it's this idea of like it doesn't matter in that extra 20% if you fell on your face or if you did 70% good or if you even were perfect in that extra 20. But as long as 80% of the time you're like striving and doing what you can and being the best that as an organizer you can be and making sure the event is running the way it could or should run, you should call that a success. And I think at LTC, without a doubt, we were far past 80% of the time we hit 100% perfection, I think.
It takes a little bit to wrap my head around what you're saying right there. But basically you're saying it went well and you figured out, you learned some stuff that you could do different next time.
I would say we did as perfectly as we could more than 80% of the time.
Have you ever been to an amusement park?
No. So my parents and I traveled a lot when I was a kid. My parents and my sibling traveled a lot when I was a kid, but we never did theme parks. We never did amusement parks. We always did like throw yourself in a city somewhere and figure it out.
So you've never been in a roller coaster or...
I've ridden the Cyclone, Coney Island, Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I've never done any of the big roller coasters there because I'm a wimp.
Okay.
And the ones that like you harness in and like go upside down, like I'm okay. I don't need that.
Okay. Well, you said you never been on a water slide, and that seemed kind of like...
Never been on a water slide. My mom claims I had gone on a water slide when I was a kid, but I don't remember it, and therefore it didn't happen.
There's a lot of things that PJ's been doing that he's not going to remember that I'm gonna have to remind him of. The unfortunate thing is PJ lives in an era where everything can be documented, and your baby's phage probably was right on the borderline of that.
A little bit less for sure.
So you you're just a civilian at Gridlock. You're not. Yeah, you
Yeah,
commentated. Did you
that was
play at
weird.
all?
No. Okay, well, I subbed one set. I
Did
didn't
you
realize
win?
it was round robin. No, God, no, no. I didn't realize it was
God
round
no.
robin, and I got up and I left to get lunch. For some of the TOs, I went and grabbed them lunch, and I got halfway at the door, and Pico stopped me and said, "You know it's round robin, right? Like you have 2 more sets to play." And I was like, "Do you want food or can I get food?" And he said,
Hold on.
"Yeah." And they found someone else.
Hold on. So what you're telling me is when 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 people don't show up to round 2 of Lowing and we're like, why are you not here? They're like, well, we lost, so it's done. You did that in real life is what you're saying.
Well, I was subbing. I okay, so I sat down to play as a sub,
You didn't
an
ask any
emergency sub.
questions, you just hopped in and said play.
Pico said, "Do you want to play a set?" I said, "Okay." I sat down. My Switch needed to be restarted to connect to LAN mode. I restarted it. Then I joined the lobby, and then it told me I needed 8 months of updates, including one security update on the Switch. So that took 20 minutes. I was like the worst person in the event, in the venue at that time. But you know,
That seems like that's inexcusable though, Brush. Like it seems like you should be the most competent in that kind of setting.
and I think that's why they trusted me. And it's funny, the rest of the event, Andy and Pico and Hunty, they wouldn't talk to me anymore. It was so weird.
It's crazy. That's crazy how that works. All right, now explain. Aside from that, for those of us that weren't there, explain the day-to-day experience of what it was like to be at Gridlock.
Sure. So doors opened at 11 at Brooklan, a LAN center and gaming hub in Bushwick, Brooklyn, New York. So for me, that meant my morning started around 10 a.m. I got out of bed, took a shower, did my morning routine, and hopped on the L train and headed to Brooklan. First game started at 12, pretty close to the dot. Main stage had a little bit of delays day one. And then it was as any other major. And that's one point I want to stress here is it really felt like a major LAN event went in terms of like you had a wave, you were told what wave you were in, you were to find out what station you're at the top of the wave, go to your station, follow volunteer pool captains through your set, and then hear about progression at the end of the day. So in a lot of ways, it felt just like any other major LAN, except the fact that you're in New York City.
So if you've been to LTC and Genesis, so you're saying it had that same kind of feel. It wasn't just like a local kind of thing.
Yeah, and I kept hearing people talk about where they were from. They did a Region Rumble side event, I think, to sort of showcase that. And sure, there's your New Jersey team, and sure, there's your Long Island team, but New England was represented. The West Coast was represented. Folks really came in from all over. I saw a friend I met at LTC who came in from Nevada. Like really a wide array of people flying in for this event to play Splatoon at Gridlock. And that was a really cool thing to see. It's not the ballroom, it's only Splatoon players. It's the entire venue is excited to see Splatoon. Yeah, but it was a major. It really did feel like a major.
And it's so Brookland is the name of the place that it's at.
Yeah.
And that's an actual like esport gaming center. Like it's a place that's built for stuff like that versus
Right.
the Genesises and the Kalahari's, which are just like convention centers where you build an esport hall overnight.
Right.
So there's two things with that. First off, that were there like any connection issues that you typically see at like Genesis or LTC? Like was things just naturally a lot smoother because of that?
I'll tell you what, we all had free Wi-Fi and it was fast.
Okay.
So like everyone was having a good time. Our LAN networks, it's not the typical major Kalahari, or it's not the way Splatlands runs their tables in those major centers where you have a local network for your station. You were on the network of the hub of the place. And that was actually connected to the internet. It's still local area play. It's still LAN play, but you had it sorry, you had an internet connection through your LAN cable. I think if you looked at packets being sent, that could lead to some weirdness, but I don't remember a single complaint. It was LAN play, but your LAN adapters were connected to the network of the of Brookland.
When you played, did you notice any like, oh, I'm kind of drifting at this moment, or did it seem like super smooth?
No, it was fine, and Tentabrellas were unstoppable, and that's how I knew I was playing LAN mode.
Yeah, that's did you ever play Vertigo? At any point?
I was watching Vertigo. I mean, obviously we played together on Red Sun, and seemed to be having fun. That was my analysis.
So that's the one thing I always say with like these gaming hall places is like, yeah, they're naturally going to be better because it's not just like, oh, we're flying in all these cables that we use at every single event across the world or whatever. But also there was a registration cap to this because there's like a finite number of space for all these things, right?
Yeah, I mean, to the credit of the TOs of Metro Inc., they had an extra station if they wanted it that was set up. They ran into, as far as I could tell from hanging around nearly all day, both days, zero issues with the stations they had. At no point were they saying, we have to kill station 3, we have the spare station, go to it. That one stayed free play. It was mostly people playing Splatfest in pairs. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't have their spreadsheets in front of me. My TO brain was going, oh, how can I make this better? How does this get bigger? How do they scale? And I had some of those conversations with Pico and Andy, who are, I mean, just some of the greatest people ever in this scene, really. And their answer is like, yeah, there's room to grow here if we wanted, to some extent as well. But it's like it starts becoming suboptimal. So the way the layout of the space was is there's a LAN room which had 3 stations. There's the main stage and viewing room, and then in the corner of that room was a technically 5th station, and that was the free play station. So you'd be trying to play sets competing volume-wise with main stage, and that starts to become nasty.
And it was just Splatoon in there the entire weekend.
Just Splatoon. Well, hold on. I think I saw someone playing maybe Odyssey on the free PlayStation, but that was quickly shut down.
Quickly shut down. Like, no, none of that.
This is Splatoon event.
Get that weak sauce out of here. Fair enough. Okay, so nobody goes to LANs to actually play the damn game. Okay, we all know that. What's the social like? Was there any meetups anywhere? Any fire pit-esque places, or what are people doing after the event?
That's a great question. So I think, as we typically see with these things, it's people stay with their teams because those are the people you're showing up to the event with, you're excited to see often. So you get your socializing time between matches, watching with other folks. But I think then generally it would be friend groups that came together or teams that came together. But and actually, I'm so glad you brought this up. This is one of my other points I wanted to talk about was like, I grew up in New York City. I love New York City. And the beauty is sort of like, look, we love the socialization. We love that part of like the fire pit at LTC. But there's also something really special of being able to get your group of friends, get the people you know that you love, hop on the train and just like do something in New York. I mean, it's New York City. Like, there is endless things to do on a Saturday night or a Sunday night. And I think that was what I was starting to hear around the hall, especially at the end of day 2 after grand finals. I started hearing people be like, hey, we're going to go to this place in the city. Like, this is our crew. You're welcome to join us. We're going to hop on the train. It's like 20 minutes to get there. And whether that, if they were 21 plus, whether that was a bar or a club or a museum or something of the like. It was very much just like, we're going to take advantage of the fact we're in New York. I mean, Dude was there, flies in from the UK. It's the second time they were here. Yeah,
that's something I liked about Big House being in like right there in downtown Detroit is that, and my friend group was lucky enough to have a couple of different people that are actually from there and do like certain areas and stuff. I'm assuming Genesis was kind of the same way, just the location of that. It's different than the Kalahari water park resorts where if you don't have a car, you're stuck there, and if you do have a car, you're just going to like a McDonald's or something. Mm-hmm. there's not like super exciting play. Well, actually, no. Downtown Austin's actually pretty cool, but I haven't been
But
there.
downtown Austin is 40 minutes from Round Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
And even at Genesis, where you're like in downtown San Diego, or not San Diego, sorry, San Jose, like maybe it's my New Yorker elitism, but it's like San Jose is not New York. Like New York is truly a special place, a different breed. And I think that was something we saw the players feel.
What was the best meal you had all weekend?
Okay, well, I was cooking for myself for breakfast and dinner because I live there. For lunch, I went on 2 different walks, and on both those walks, tried to text TOs, and I know Bada and Raj was helping out with artist vendors, and so I was trying to text, be like, "Hey, do you want anything?" I had an Argentinian meal and I had a Mexican meal. Both were delicious. But that Argentinian meal, I think it was Argentinian, was really good. It was so good. It was like peppers and onion and egg. And then I had, what did I have with it? Oh, it was just delicious. I have to go back.
Well, it left a real impression on you. Okay. I'm regretting asking that question. I should have ran these by you first before just. I figured, hey, Brush, what is some food you ate that you enjoyed?
Okay, that meal was genuinely. Oh, I had an empanada with it. That meal was genuinely so good. Like it was genuinely actually amazing.
An empanada, fair enough.
An empanada with it for sure. There was an empanada in that on that plate.
You commentated this event.
I did with Hangman.
With Hangman.
Yeah. Who I'm about to, I guess, out myself as like a Splatoon 2 player and not a Splatoon 1 community member. I saw that was my pairing. I saw the caster announcement on Twitter, and I saw one of the only replies on it was Siren, who is obviously my co-head TO at LTC, saying, "No way you got Hangman." And I texted Siren, and I said, "Who is Hangman?" And Siren went on to tell me all of the history of like Hangman's involvement as a commentator and how they were like really early on in competitive Splatoon. Hangman was there helping out Gen Game with the stream and was a delight. It was a blast to commentate. I know Popgun, you and I do our couch casting goof off and talk about cat food. This was back to the standard of like commentary, and we're very serious about it. But it was fun. I don't get to do that super often. It's electrifying to do it at a LAN. It's doubly so when you look over your shoulder and like that's the crowd. You're not like in some random corner as we are at most of the other majors. And it was a really great block. And all I'm saying is that I completely predicted how the rest of the bracket was going to go. And I said it live. You can find the clip. And I'm such a good commentator.
Okay, so walk us through that grand finals because it was competitive. I mean,
yeah. So I texted you, "This is hard to watch."
No, that's not what you didn't say. Hard to watch.
What did I say?
I don't think you said hard. Yeah, I think you said painful to watch. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, what? It's not that painful for me to watch.
Here's what I was feeling, and maybe this is because like I'm way less active in Splatoon 3, and I'm very used to like the Splatoon 2 sort of slow quarter. I mean, you remember like Clam Blitz in Splatoon 2 was often like these very slow, coordinated, like tension rises to a big push, and that would like open the door, and it would be back and forth and still be really chaotic, but it was like very, very, in my mind, coordination heavy. And what I felt like I was watching all of grand finals were these two teams just like slapping each other in the face and waiting for one of them to cave. It meant that I was louder than I've ever been in an audience at a Splatoon event. I was actually screaming. I lost my voice a little bit this morning. But I mean, look, ultimately it was a ton of fun. That set, you told me, or you said once on the mic with me years ago now, when we were casting Low Ink, one of the first times I did it, you said something along the lines of like, when a team comes back from a bracket reset and wins the first set, it's very rare to see them lose the second one. that normally they're able to carry momentum through. And while I think that's less true than maybe I had like written it down as like one of the holy texts at the time, and I think it holds a little bit less true, especially now in Splatoon 3, we felt the momentum start to shift, and we really felt He-Mad in that first set of grand finals, win those first two, okay, get knocked down for another two, and take game 5, and we felt their momentum. The crowd was with them. But to Bare Minimum's credit, right, and the story Cactus and Vic did such a great job telling on the mic was like, Bare Minimum kept their head in the game, stayed cool, stayed calm, stayed collected. We stopped seeing them jump up and scream and yell, and they instead channeled that energy into just finding the next pick and finding the next objective win, and that's what carried them through. But I want to reiterate one more time. From the audience, it just looked like a chicken fight, and it hurt to watch.
Well, the good thing about it is you actually had players that you want to see on that kind of stage. You had the team that won had Thunder on it from Crush Soda. Keen says good morning, formerly of Good Morning, and half of Sonder, thank
formerly
you. Yes.
Supernova.
Yes. I know it's hilarious because the team they're going up against is like half Moonlight and then Max, who was subbed for Moonlight several times, and Hunty. So it's like Shadow and Nolan have played in bracket resets of Riptide, Low Tide City, and now that, and they have yet to win a single game in those bracket resets. But they're still in those like opportunities to do that. But those are like still 8 players who are like worthy of that kind of stage. So yeah,
need I remind you that last year at Gridlock, it was Moonlight, effectively a very similar roster that won it all. And so the underdogs here really were Bare Minimum dethroning a champion.
And maybe, well, no, I think Thunder played at the Nintendo, so that wouldn't be like Thunder's first legit LAN experience, but still, yeah, that's you've seen a lot of these grand finals. You were at Genesis. Most of the time, the grand finals for an event like this are crap. I would know. I've commentated a lot of crap at LANs before, but you just want it to be competitive, and Cactus and Vic did a good job of illustrating the excitement that portraying the excitement that was obvious in the venue with you guys to the rest of us in the audience, the live audience that was watching that one. But yeah, was the atmosphere kind of rise to the moment?
I mean, I don't know how many folks are familiar with the little clappers that were at LTC.
I saw those.
Cactus showed up with more than enough for this one, and in a much smaller room, truly thunderous, no pun intended. But yeah, the energy was high. I mean, like, I really want to emphasize, like, I'm a person who doesn't play the game anymore. I'm a person who barely watches the game anymore. And I was yelling. I mean, I was like genuinely standing there in the hallway, sort of at the back of the crowd, being like, what the hell am I watching? Thunder, why are you throwing in this moment? And then Thunder stops throwing and you go, oh, because he's Thunder. But yeah, I mean, like, energy was high. I mean, yeah, really, really, really. I was yelling. Everyone was yelling. Oohs and ahs. The 3-2-1 screaming overtime at the end of Clan Blitz every time. Yeah, I mean, and Splatoon audiences are figuring out who we are and what we do, and Gridlock was no exception.
I'm glad of that, because, like, it's, like, I've been to a lot of those Splatoon 2 LANs after the pandemic, and, you had some grand finals that were cool, but, like, the audience doesn't really know how to be excited about some of those things. My favorite moment was LTC at the end of the grand finals, the first set, when the entire audience is counting down from 10 to 1 as they're popping up on the thing, just as Moonlight's about to pull off this awesome upset. So I'm glad that's like we're being more comfortable being excited about what we're seeing, which is cool. I'm glad that's kind of translating. Anything else? Anything at all you want to say about Gridlock?
My favorite story that I heard all weekend. So in winners finals, to sort of paint the scene, Bare Minimum, who won the whole thing, had defeated HEMAD, our team of Nolan, Shadow, Max, and Hunty, and sent them down to lower bracket. And that was, I was commentating that set. That was a dominant win from bare minimum. It was the first time HEMAD had hit a wall, and they hit it real hard. And HEMAD comes in, goes through lower bracket. They kind of get their momentum back. And what I heard is Zero calls Hunty up in the downtime before Grands and gives a pep talk to HEMAD. And what do you know? HEMAD sits down on that stage and wins those first two, and the momentum seemed to have completely switched. And so it's these little stories, Zero calling Hunty to say, you got this, and don't listen to the haters, or whatever was said on that call, that can switch the momentum.
Don't listen to the haters. That's, you know, the next time you and I are commentating together and we ever look at the chat, we're going to have to remind, hey, don't listen to the haters.
Hey, don't listen to the haters.
Don't listen to the haters. I'm assuming there's more said in that phone call than
you are valuable.
What's next for you, Splatoon-wise, other than Lowing? Like what?
Great question.
You and I are commentating this weekend.
It's true. Super Jump. It's going to be great. This is the 4th Super Jump Pop Gun.
It is.
We've done 4 of these.
Not we. I haven't done any of them. I played in 2.
Okay.
That was it.
We've existed at IPL during 4 of these.
Yes.
That's
IPL is
crazy.
It is.
That's wild.
It is.
Next for me, so LTC is like over. I don't really know what that means yet.
No, what? Okay, so do you have anything like leaking from that? Like
I don't know what I should say, but there are rumors.
Okay, where am I going to be in May of next year? Am I going to be at MomoCon or am I going to be somewhere else?
Well, I'm not the head TO of MomoCon. So my personal hope is not MomoCon for my sake, for Seekant's sake and Raze's sake.
Yes.
I really hope you're at MomoCon.
Okay. Fair enough. We'll leave it at that then. Riptide, yes or no, maybe?
It's my first week back to school. So no. I'd have to get up and I'd leave my class. Like I'd be like, hey, professor, it's really nice to meet you. I'm going to go watch Splatoon for like $800. I'll see ya. Like, I don't think I can pull that one off.
Well, not with that attitude, you can't. That's certainly for sure. Is that your entire apartment? Are you in New York City?
So, okay, here's the whole brush lore. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I'm a Brooklyn baby. I hold that real near and dear to my heart. I spent 5 years in Arkansas, where I met you, Popgun.
You didn't meet me in Arkansas.
Well, no, but like I was in my home in Arkansas, and you were in your home, and that's when we met. So for me, we met in Arkansas.
Okay.
When I graduated high school, my parents left Arkansas, moved back to New York City. I moved to Boston for college. And this summer, I live in a 1-bedroom sublet in New Jersey. And it's sad.
It doesn't look that sad.
Well, the power was out for 50 minutes, Popgun. Like, let's call it as it is.
It's obvious the power went out because your stove is flashing that you need to reset the time that's on it back there. So yeah, that's I can confirm the power did go out. It's doing that.
It did, and I'm like sweating because I don't have AC in this room.
All right,
those fans don't do enough.
I'll let you hop to take care of that. Thank you for hopping on.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you were going to Gridlock. It's like, yes, I can use this as an excuse to talk to a fun person.
There you go.
And enjoy the rest of your summer vacation then.
Yeah.
I'll let you plug yourself
on Twitter at BrushstrokesSPL.
You don't tweet though.
Yeah, but if I get enough Twitter followers, I can coach on Metafy, and then I get money.
What are you going to coach? You just said you don't do anything. You're criticizing Thunder. You didn't be coaching Thunder. Is that what you're
Thunder,
do?
You gotta be calling out, bro. You gotta say what you're doing. I promise you, Thunder just started screaming in VC.
Just block out the haters. That's all you're gonna do. Hey, I'll see you Sunday.
Okay. See you, Popgun.
That was Brush, the Always a good time talking to Brush. Always enjoy and finding an opportunity to do just that. A few highlighted things, and then we'll get out of here. Cactus, few issues with audio from different setups, replacements of Ethernet adapters, and an issue with the mainstream a few times, but nothing that wasn't a quick fix. Yeah, that's the thing, is that like some of these, a lot of the time, these things just like aren't quick fixes. So I'm assuming that's an advantage. To be honest, the fighter pick section is the front of the building, since you can chill. Since you had a chill area and a food drink bar. I'm glad he brought up the fact that it's in New York, because it's like, oh yeah, like you can just hop on a subway and just go somewhere with a group, and there are a lot of places. I've been to New York City 3 times in my life, once as a teenager, twice as an adult, and I feel like I've scraped the surface of like 5% of that entire city of what all there is to see there. And Cactus had to teach Brush the new meta. All right, well, fair enough. Somebody has to do that. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, reach out my socials below. Twitter at Mr_Popgun, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. We'll be back Friday, probably with a preview of Super Jump. Make sure you sign up for that. Registration closes Friday night. See y'all then.